I met this guy recently at the Arnold UK, and in today's video, we're going to answer the question you've all been waiting for. Is Andoni Natural O No? Coach Greg, in today's video, we're talking about none other than Andoni Fitness. I met this guy recently at the Arnold UK, and in today's video, we're going to answer the question you've all been waiting for. Is Andoni Natural O No? And so Antonio on Instagram tiene 2.2 millones followers. Crazy, right? This is some of the comments talking about Andonio, and you're not going to like it. Yeah, he looked fat and unattractive, IMO. There you have it. Apparently, a guy with an amazing physique such as this, he looks fat and attractive. But hey, this is coming from a woman who's comparing him to Coach Greg. You know, Coach Greg has single-digit body fat, a little bit over 7. And so when you're used to seeing somebody shredded, you think that somebody who actually looks incredible is actually overweight. And so this guy, he's far from being fat, let alone overweight. And you kidding me? This guy's unattractive. He's over 6 feet tall. The guy's a friggin' Chad. He has under 15% body fat. But when you are comparing this guy to unrealistic beauty standards, after all, how many people can look as good as Coach Greg? I mean, let's be honest right now. Not many men can look as good as this. I mean, are we serious now? And so it's not his fault. He's standing next to Coach Greg, and so that's why he's not hotter than last time. A big sarcastic, but not the opinion of this girl. She didn't think he looked good. She thought he was a little fat. And so the first thing I like to look at when deciding if the guy's natural is we go back and look at what exactly are his genetics. And so I scrolled way back to the beginning of time, which is when he started an Instagram account, and he had an amazing physique. But remember, he was 16 years of age. And so how do we know how great his development really was? Did he train at the age of 10? Had he already been training? And is it not possible that he already had been taking SARMs and or PDs already at this time? How do we know that the physique he developed at 16 wasn't already enhanced? Because in looking at that physique, it is incredible. How many guys, even with performance-enhancing drugs, look that good at such an early age? Look at the physique. I mean, if you told me that that's what he looked like at 21, I'd be like, wow, that is impressive. This is 16. 16. And so my personal opinion, and I have no proof whatsoever, going out on a limb, I think he's enhanced at 16. I'm sorry, I think he's enhanced at 16. Now remember, I see nowhere where this guy claims to be natural. I see no post where he's saying, yo soy natural, but is muy grande. Look at this guy, yet 16 years of age. I mean, there's a 1 in a million chance. It's possible. Maybe he has the genetics of Lee Priest or Michael Hearn, but aside from that, do you really think this kid is natural at 16 years of age? And why are there no throwbacks? Why don't we see any photos of him when he's younger? Maybe he's trying to keep it a secret. Perhaps if he shows people a year before and says, hey, what happened? People will be suspicious. And so I personally don't believe that he's natural. Is it possible? Anything's possible. It's even slightly possible, maybe 1 in a billion chance that even Michael Hearn is natural. 16 años. Look at this guy. 16. And so as we zoom on his photo when he was 16 years of age, we can in fact see a lot of acne. Now remember, when you're using performance-enhancing drugs, this can increase the likelihood of having acne on your face, back, chest, and so on. And so at 16, he could easily be explained as having this acne from going through puberty. It's not as if he was older. If we saw him with no acne for a period of time, and then suddenly he got a lot of acne, especially while adding 10, 15 pounds of muscle at the same time, that would make it obvious, but we just don't know. That's the first photo he's posted on Instagram. 17, and look at this guy. He's already getting more jacked. He's getting more shredded. So he's been dieting. He's trying to get more condition, and he's getting ready for future bodybuilding competitions. And so how often is it that we see young people, teenagers, you being pressured to use performance-enhancing drugs to compete and get famous on social media? Just look at his physique. He's flexing. He's got shreds. The guy looks incredible. He's only 17. And so if you're a betting man, if you're wanting to bet, most likely you're going to bet the guy's not natural. How often do we see a guy with this kind of development at that age while being 100% natural? Think of it like this. If he looks like that at 17 while being natural, how would he look if he had been using performance-enhancing drugs? And so is it in fact possible? Could he be that massive, that shredded at that age by being natural? And if he wasn't natural, what would he then look like? You may have heard in the past, bigger isn't always better. I don't believe that you guys need to try to get as big as this. You're thinking, this is my hero. He has over 2 million followers. He has over Joe's Majonis followers. And so you're thinking, that is the look I need to be famous, to be desired by the opposite sex. I'm going to argue he had a better physique at 18. How many of you, raise your hand, would want to look like this? He's 18. He's significantly smaller. Looks way smaller, but is he perhaps looking better? Why is it that we're always after more size, just for the sake of size? Bigger doesn't always mean better. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing. In comparison, my favorite photo of Chris Bumstead, that's right, I have a favorite photo of Chris. Look at how he looks at 22 at his first Olympia. I think he looks far better than he does right now. Yeah, he's smaller, and no, his physique wouldn't beat his current physique. Yeah, he might be 20 plus pounds of muscle less at that point. But to me, it looked better. It was more aesthetic. That, to me, is more people's dream physique. And so just because you're bigger doesn't mean you're better. And so remember, you don't need to abuse performance-enhancing drugs. For the most part, if you get very big, you're going to impress more men, but you're not going to impress the ladies. They don't want a man that big. They don't need it. You think I would be more attractive if I got more muscle? Remember, I have 20, 25 pounds less of muscle than I used to. Personally, I think I look better. I could argue that I look better. I was a better athlete on a bodybuilding stage, but for most people, do I need to be that jacked? Does it make me look better? I don't think so. And let me take you back to this original comment. It was this female when she met this Andoni Fitness in person. He looked fat and unattractive, in my opinion. And so the first thing I noticed is he didn't remember to shave his legs. I see an amazing physique, but I get distracted by the hair on his quadriceps. Why didn't you shave? What is wrong with you? Remember, if you watch Grooming with Greg, Grooming 101, you would clearly know, shave everything. Get rid of it all. And so the guy got up to as much as 107 kilograms, about 235 pounds. Remember, he's about 18. 235, shredded. Like, does that not sound a little bit unrealistic? And remember, he's not claiming to be natural, and most guys who are natural would point that out. Hey, I'd like to remind you, I'm natural. And when they say this, they're usually not 107 kilograms. And so he gets on the stage, he competes, gets second and fifth place. Remember, he's only 18 competing against adults, guys 10 years older than him. And so I'm zooming in on the thigh. I can't tell for sure, but I do see some acne and potentially a site of injection. He may, in fact, have been injecting in his quads. I can't be certain. It's possible. But it does look like there's some slight swelling. When you're doing bodybuilding competitions, the most people will refrain from injecting in the quadriceps minimum of a week because they don't want to be left with a mark. Typically, they'll only inject in the glutes behind where the posing trunks are showing. I'm just telling you what people do. If you act as if bodybuilders, for the most part, don't use performance-enhancing drugs, I got news flash for you. They do. And so to me, looks a little sus. It's not a guarantee of anything, but it is a little sus. And so here at 19, we now see clearly it's a dad bod. I mean, he's all washed up. I mean, most girls could say this guy's fat and unattractive. I mean, that's what this lady said, right? Are you kidding me? He's sitting down, relaxing his stomach. He's still extremely defined. This is an incredible body. And so if anyone is going to tell you, where did his abs go? Perhaps they're jealous or envious, but this physique is absolutely incredible. Better than 99.9% of the population at minimum. Even guys on performance-enhancing drugs, especially in the off-season, most of them do not look nearly this good. And so I want to point this out. Once you've used filters and Photoshop and change your physique and you see this, it starts to play tricks on your mind. Women in particular do this all the time. They're posting their selfies on their Instagram stories every day, and they're using all kinds of filters. The filter that makes it look like you have makeup and that you're hotter and 10 years younger and sexual and have puffier lips. You can make the lips look bigger, and it makes this and your eyes come in. And then you post that for perhaps a month straight. And now you can't go back. Once you've seen your photos doctored and filtered to cook, it's hard to go back. What are you going to do? And so you develop slowly over time body dysmorphia. The first time you post a photo like this, it's cool. You get a lot of likes. I've done it myself. I posted photos. It made me look cool and ripped. Oh my goodness. Look at them. Got lots of likes. But if you start to think that it's possible to actually look like that or that you should look like that, it's a slippery slope, a downward spiral. And so what happens is when you enter a bodybuilding competition, or albeit bikini, either of those competitions, you see yourself at your best, shredded with tan, oil, stage lighting, doing your best in a $1,000 bathing suit. And so after the show's over and you go back to regular eating, you're thinking, I don't look like that anymore. And people start commenting, where's your abs? That guy has a dad bod. They even accused Chris Bumstead of having a dad bod. Do you remember that? And so what hope do we have? People, humans, males, females, circles, everyone. What hope do we have when we're trying to live up to other people's expectations? And so, for example, if I stand up like this, I have to flex my stomach, or what would people say? If I stand up without flexing, oh, it's not so impressive. Why do you have a belly? And so when you take photos, you take 10, you post the best one. You're not showing your worst photos. And so anytime a guy has his shirt off, he's got to be flexing harder than last time. Andoni is 21 years of age. Imagine the pressure to always look perfect for social media. And when you see him in person, he doesn't look all that impressive. And so is it possible he's natural? I don't know. Maybe he cycles on, maybe he cycles off. And when I took a photo with him, let's zoom in on the photo. Let's see what we can see. Does he look impressive? Notice I'm standing in front of him. Let us compare biceps. Notice you can see mine. Is there anything he's wearing covering his own biceps? And so perhaps he was scared, nervous, taking a photo standing next to his other famous young LA athletes. And so he places his pants covering the biceps on both sides. Do you notice that? He just happens to be walking around the convention wearing pants on his shoulders, covering up his arms. Perhaps he was off cycle. Normally when people abuse performance-enhancing drugs, they take it for a short period of time, perhaps it's 3 or 4 months, and they take a break. And during that break, they lose a lot of muscle. Perhaps he's not a bulk, he's soft, he's not as lean. Is it possible that he knows that he's not quite at his best, that perhaps he's off cycle, perhaps he's not taking SARMs, whatever? And so although exquisite, still a specimen of a man, a Chad. Perhaps he's not living up to the own pressures he's put on himself. And so is it possible he feels maybe just a little bit inadequate in comparison to those other young athletes? Perhaps some of them several years younger than him, perhaps leaner than him. And so in comparison, he wants to cover himself up. For the most part, when guys are very proud of their physiques, when they look good, they're walking around in tank tops, they're showing off their muscles, they're impressed, they're proud. But notice, oftentimes men, they go to the gym, they're wearing pump covers, sometimes 2 or 3 layers, and they will never take it off unless they have that major pump because they don't want to show people what they look like when they're just regular walking around with no pump whatsoever. And so in comparison to the other athletes, look at the size of this guy. He must be well over 6 feet tall, massive man, only 21 years of age. And if he is in fact natural, this is ridiculous. It's ultra impressive. And so if he is natural and he's still 21, we should expect to see him get a significant amount more muscle over the next several years. But if he is in fact natural, I say prove it. If he wants us to believe he's natural, enter a drug-tested competition, and if he passes a test, well, perhaps I'll have to change my opinion on his natty or not status. And so one thing I'm noticing is he's not posting very often, oftentimes goes a week, 2 weeks, even more between posts. Sometimes that's a sign that they're not happy with their physiques, because after all, if you really like the way you look, you're happy with everything, are you not more likely to want to post something? But if you're not happy with your physique, you might not feel like posting, and so it is possible that he's not happy, that he wants to get leaner. Only time will tell. In conclusion, I am not sure if he's natty or not. I'm leaning towards thinking he's not natural just because of how massive and shredded he was at only 16 years of age. To me, that is not the physique of a natural 16-year-old. However, if he showed me a photo of him at 10 years of age and he was jacked at 10, I might in fact change my opinion. The guy behind you, is he natty or not? Ja, laughing as if to say, of course he's not natural. That brother Brian is quite natural. In fact, I met him in person at a gym out here and he was real humble. Individuals have to understand that when you are great with posing and have good symmetry and diet, you'll run things. Folks just don't take that time to dial it in enough. Here's the thing. Just because a guy is nice, that he's humble, that he's well-liked, that he speaks eloquently, that he seems like a cool dude, doesn't mean that they're natural. You think that all guys that do steroids are somehow mean, they're criminals, they're going to beat you up, they're going to destroy you, that they're not nice, they're going to curse you out, they just want to fight all the time? It's not how it works. You can be highly charismatic. You could even be a guy like The Rock. We know he's 100% natural. But even The Rock, notice how suave he is, how charismatic he is. but even The Rock, it's possible that even he could be taking something just a little bit. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Perhaps he just is using GO2 Max and Turk Builder, Acne Builder, Creatine, all the most natty supplements in the world. Remember, acne steroids like terkestrone, they're on WADA's watch list. They're natural right now. And so if you're interested in getting terkestrone, Acne Builder, and so on, please head over to my website. Don't forget to enter code Greg for 15% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Don't forget to watch one of those two bloops. You know you want to watch one of them. And of course, the cookbooks, the Circle Diet book, the training book. You can get all those on my website, as well as the coaching plans by me and my team, phone consults, and don't forget, if you need a free training program, it's all free, no charge you. Head over to my website, become one of the 300,000 plus newsletter subscribers. And until next time, I am out.